But the thing about Nathan, you feel his energy. You can sense his excitement about what he's doing. He's a Russellville High School native, and his wife have a daughter, Riley, and a son, Luke. As Rex mentioned, 5-2 right now, 5-2, first in the Southland. And you're doing great things. And one thing I can guarantee you with Nathan, you're going to have great quarterback play. You're going to have great quarterback play. But I'm just going to tell you right now, this young man's just getting started. I'm going to tell you, if you're a UCA supporter and staff, this young man, I'm just telling you, we're going to be talking about him from years to come. I don't know. I hope he'll stay at UCA forever. And I don't know if he will or not, but wherever he goes, he's going to do a magnificent job. And we're honored, Nathan, to bring you back, to have you as a 32-year-old when we had you as a 21-year-old and 22-year-old. So let's give a big Little Rock Touchdown Club welcome to Nathan Brown, everybody.
Welcome, Coach. That was probably too much for an introduction. I appreciate that, though. I really do. And Rex, I need to have what you have for breakfast because you've got some excitement about you. And David mentioned it earlier. First thing I want to do is recognize my wife Jessica here. Listen, she didn't know what she was getting into when we started dating in college. It's cool because Conway means so much to me. The University of Central Arkansas means so much to me. But for all that David just talked about, but also it's where my life started. That's where I met Jessica. Where we we went on a date. She didn't even know I played football. So it's really a neat deal. But she didn't know, one, she was dating a football player. She figured it out pretty quick. Two, she didn't know she was going to marry a football coach, and there's something to be said about coaches' wives, and it's a calling. It's something that's special, and so I'd be crazy not to mention her and her love, and yeah, give her a hand. I would also like to mention both my parents are here. My sister and her husband are here. Listen, that's the reason why I've gotten to where I am. Stability. A lot of young men aren't able to have that growing up. My parents. I'm realizing it now that I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. The sacrifice it is to be a parent. And I'm just getting started. But as a kid, you're growing up going to baseball tournaments, football games. Waking up early to drive to Springfield, Missouri, or to Little Rock to play in a tournament. You just don't realize what the sacrifice that your parents make, and I'm quickly figuring it out. So glad they're here, and again, that's why I am where I am, because of that stability, and it's an awesome thing. I want to visit a little bit today about, obviously, UCA, about what we're about, but I also want to backtrack a little bit and just tell you guys my story, a little bit about how I've got to where I've gotten, and the people that's helped me along the way. And then obviously my vision for this program, this university, and what I feel like the future holds for what we want to do. December of 2017, my whole life changed. The opportunity, this job came open. I was actually on the road recruiting. I was in North Mississippi recruiting some of the junior colleges. It was a normal day. Going about my business and trying to get the next great class of Bears, to sign with us. And I got a call from Dr. Brad Teague, and he said, Steve's leaving, Coach Campbell's leaving. He got an opportunity to go home, which, he took the job at South Alabama. He's from that area, him and his wife, and, I'd love to speak with you. And I obviously knew that opportunity may come, and I wanted to make the most of it. And a lot of times people ask. At that time, I was 31 years old. How are you ready for that? How are you too young, or you've never been a head coach? You've just been a coordinator. You've only been at one place your whole career. You know how unique that is in this profession. I played there. I started there in 2004. Played there through 2008, had a quick opportunity to go, show my lack of skills in the NFL, and, got fired twice. So anybody that says that I don't know what getting fired is yet, yeah, I had to tuck my tail between my legs and come back to Conway, Arkansas, in two different instances. So, but people, a lot of times people ask, how are you ready for that? And I said, man, that's something I prepared for my whole life. That's something that I look back at times growing up. Different situation scenarios through playing, through coaching as an assistant coach, and then obviously getting the opportunity to visit with Dr. Teague in the moment that I was prepared for. And one thing I wanted to make sure he knew when we had this conversation was that I wasn't taking it for granted. You know, he knew that I bled purple, and everybody, you know, there's a lot of purple that's in here, and there's no secret that that is my university, and I take great pride in representing the logo of that university. But I didn't want to be the convenient choice. You know, I didn't want to just be the guy that you slotted in that says, you know, as Nathan's here, we can keep this thing going. You know, we've done a pretty good job here. You know, I wanted to be the guy that takes us to the next level. I wanted to be the guy that is a no-brainer. We can go, you know, interview anybody across America, but we're going to come back to Nathan, and he's going to be the guy. And so that opportunity came, and obviously, you know, we made that happen. And you know, very appreciative of Dr. Teague and President Davis and our Board of Trustees for instilling the program in my hands, and it's been a great ride. You know, but you know, being 31 years old and being handed the keys to a big-time Division I football program is something that I was ready for. You know, and I've got a couple stories, you know, looking back at just some times that maybe, you know, shaped me and molded me into the situation. Because look, I was talking to Justin on the air earlier. You know, everything that I've gotten has kind of been thrusted, you know, into fast forward. You know, I've been put to the fire really quick in a lot of situations. I think back to when I was a junior in high school. You know, at that time, you know, I was a pretty good athlete growing up. I played baseball, football, played a little basketball. You know, just typical, you know, athlete growing up. Did as much as I could, but never really broke through in football. And didn't even necessarily know that was the sport that was, especially as a junior. You know, at that time I was 15 years old. You know, especially didn't think that was my future. So I'm sitting, you know, I'm a backup quarterback at Russellville High School to a guy named Landon Leach, who ended up actually signing with the University of Arkansas. At that time, was the most prolific passer in the high school, the state of Arkansas high school history. So I was his backup. So I mean, I'm not going to see the field. And you know, in a lot of ways, I'm Luke Hales. 3 weeks ago, you know, he's a third-string quarterback at that time. You know, I'm holding the clipboard doing fake signs. But you know, and that's what it's that, and you never know when your time's going to come. Well, guess what? My time didn't even come at quarterback. Here's the crazy thing. So we're sitting there, we're playing the fourth game of the year, I believe it was, maybe the fifth game of the year. You know, I'm on the sideline. It's, you know, it's starting to get chill in the air, kind of like it is out there right now. So it's football weather. You know, I'm probably got, you know, bundled up, you know, watching Landon throw all over the field. We had good receivers. Well, I'm sitting on the sideline, and we get to about the second quarter. We're playing at Fayetteville High School, and they had a couple good players throughout that time in my era at Fayetteville High School. One of them by the name of Wallace Spearman. Okay, a lot of you know who that is. 200-meter Olympian. You know, obviously had a great track career at the University of Arkansas. Well, you know, I'm probably 6 foot tall at that time. You know, maybe a $165, $170, and I promise you, I don't run a 5 flat. I promise you. We for whatever reason we can't tackle Wallace, and he's a pretty good athlete. You know, he's running by us. We can't tackle him. Well, I haven't played a defensive snap since I was probably a 7th or an 8th grader. You know, at that time, everybody goes both ways. Well, you know, so we're sitting there. We can't tackle. Coach Doug Lockridge, who's the head coach at Alma High School now, is our defensive coordinator at that time. Coach Jeff Holt was the head coach, and I, you know, I'm the head. You know, I know how Coach Holt thinks now. Now that I'm a head coach, I think he probably gave Coach Lockridge a look like, "Hey, let's get this fixed, man. You know, like let's tackle this guy." Well, then you know, he kind of turns around and looks. He goes, "Well, Brown, he can probably tackle," and I, you know, I'm sitting there kind of probably just swaying like this, and obviously I'm not gonna not take the opportunity to go in the game. And they throw me out there, and I play corner. I don't even know a call. Matter of fact, the safety to my side, I think they lined me up on our sideline the whole night. And that way they could yell to me what I'm supposed to do. Not that I even know what cover 2 or cover 3 or cover 4 is. I don't know. You know, I'm just learning the game. And long story short is I was somehow, some way, I gave enough cushion to Wallace Spearman, and I tackled him. And I tackled him over and over again. And you know, that's no knock on Wallace, but I got him that night. And really the crazy thing is, and I talked about our players about this, is when your opportunity comes, you make the most of it. When your opportunity comes, you make the most of it. And yeah. And so I got that opportunity. Well, here's the deal. Here's the cool part about this now. I never looked back. That year was Landon Leach's senior year. Now, I never got to sniff the field at quarterback, but I got to sniff the field at cornerback, and I ended up having 7 interceptions and was all-state that year. Don't ask me how. But I was able to do that. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but I am saying that to say that I was thrusted into opportunity at a young age, not expecting that opportunity, and I made the most of it. Let's fast forward now. Let's fast forward 6, 8, 10 years from there. I'm a young coach. I've been cut twice in the NFL. Coach Clint Conk at the time was the head coach at UCA, and he said, "Man, come back and volunteer for me." And the neat part about that was there wasn't a job opening. It was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. Jessica, actually, we'd just gotten married that July in 2009. And she was working 2 jobs as a waitress, and I was actually substitute teaching in the Conway School District, and volunteer coaching for that semester. And Coach Conk told me, "Hey, when a job comes open, I'm going to slot you in no matter what the position is." So it worked out. Well, we ended up getting a coach left. Long story short, ended up being the quarterback's coach in 2010. What a great opportunity. Well, let's fast forward to 2011. I'm 24 years old. We've got a guy by the name of Nathan Dick playing for us, transferred from Arkansas. Actually ended up being a first-team all-conference player for us. He's got several single-season records. Really good football player for us. Well, he went down. We were in Huntsville, Texas, at Sam Houston State, and he went down. He went down with a concussion. We had a younger quarterback who was a freshman at the time, a redshirt freshman at the time, named Winrick Smothers. And Winrick Smothers has actually been honored here as well as a player here at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. But he was the backup. And Coach Conk at that time was calling plays as the head coach, and I was just up in the box as the quarterback's coach, just kind of relaying what I saw, all those things. And then we go in at halftime, we find out Nathan is out for the rest of the game. And so we're sitting there. Obviously, halftime's really quick. I mean, it's 20 minutes. You're sitting there trying to figure out how you're going to beat one of the best teams in the country. How are we going to adjust, all that stuff. We got our backup quarterback in. They've already knocked our starter out. And Coach Conk looked at me and said, "Hey, man, you're calling it in the second half." And I said, and anybody that knows anything about calling plays, that's not something you just wake up and do. That's something you prepare for. That's something you take time and effort to get ready. And I remember, I'll never forget it, walking up to wasn't walking, I was kind of jogging, but because I couldn't walk, I was so jittery. Going back up to the press box, and I remember Coach Brooks Hollingsworth looking at me at the time, and he's now my assistant head coach, tight ends coach, Hall of Famer, UCA Hall of Famer, and he just looked at me and said, "Don't ever look back." And that was a really neat moment for me, and the cool part about that was I was 24 years old. We've got a big-time Division I program, big game, and Coach Conk handed me the keys at that moment, and I never looked back. I continued to call plays throughout that whole process. So, just two moments in my time that I look back that just say, man, stuff like that prepares you for this. Stuff like you may have never been a head coach, or you may have never ran an organization like this, but you're prepared for it and you're ready. And I've truly been blessed. God has blessed me with a great family, and He's blessed me with obviously great bosses in President Davis and Dr. Teague, and man, we've got a great thing at UCA. And I tell everybody this, and I'll say this till I die, that we are the best kept secret, not only in the South, not only in Arkansas, but the nation. I look at a team up in the northwest part of this country. In the mid-'90s, they had this crazy blue turf field. I mean, blue turf field. What in the world is that? And they're a Division II program, and you guys that don't know who I'm talking about Boise State University, a Division II program, and you guys know where they are now. They're one of the premier, non Power 5 schools in the country. I see a university at the University of Central Arkansas that has had unparalleled success since they've made the Division I jump. They got a crazy striped field. It's purple and gray. You guys that haven't seen it, you need to come take a picture on it. It's pretty cool. Everybody that come in, you see people daily. They got their families out there. I mean, that is a cornerstone, a spot in the Conway, Arkansas, the Central Arkansas community. But I see a Division I program that's had unparalleled success. We've been to fully Division I program since 2006. And during that time, we've got a 99-50 record. A 99-50 record. We're going for win number 100 this weekend in our Division I era. During that time in the Southland Conference, we were 68-23. 68-23. I mean, that's unparalleled. At home. So on that striped turf, where we play at home. So when you don't have anything to do on a Saturday and UCA's playing at home, come watch some winning football. We're 58-13 in that time. That's unbelievable. Yeah. And then if you go all the way back, if you want to talk about the team of the 2000s in the state of Arkansas, it's not even close. It's not even matched. There's not even any discussion. We're 140-68 since in the 2000s era. I don't know about you guys, but that fires me up. That should fire the Central Arkansas community up. It ought to fire the state up. And it's just such a special place. There is no reason that this program, this university, can't continue to take great strides. It takes 5 minutes to walk around campus to feel the special vibe. And I tell people this all the time. We had the #1 recruiting class last year in the Southland Conference. I think it was 8th nationally. We're excited about what we've got coming this year. But it takes 5 minutes for those families to get on campus. It's not even the football. It's the university. It's walking around campus, the beauty of it, the way the buildings match, the way it's kept, not to mention the football facilities, the indoor facility, the stripe field, the suites, all the things that we put time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into. You get them on campus, we're going to get them because of the special place, and that's something that can be something we take great pride in. Our continued culture is what gets me going. UCA's been great for years. You look back, 100-year history. I mean, 3 national championships. I think 28 conference championships. I mean, you can't name the All-Americans. Since 2005, UCA football program has tied for first with draft picks in the FCS level. Matter of fact, we've got 3 active players on rosters right now: Tremon Smith with the Kansas City Chiefs, George Odom with Indianapolis Colts, and Jonathan Woodard, who actually won the Dan Hampton Award with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they're not just practice squad guys; they're active, players. The culture there breeds success. And I talk to our players every night. Every time we get an opportunity to get together as a team, one thing I talk about is there's a big difference in expecting to win on Saturdays and hoping to win. Think about that. When you walk out on that field, do you expect to win or do you hope to win? And one thing that UCA does is we expect to win every Saturday. So that continued culture gets me excited. How am I going to attain that? Well, guess what? I don't want our team to be defined by football. Football is a big part of it. We're going to continue to win. We're going to win big. I'm not scared to talk about national championships. That doesn't scare me. That's not something I shy away from. That's our goal. That's what we're about. But how do you continue that? Well, it starts academically. We set an all-time record this year in APR, and those of y'all that don't know what that is, it's an academic progress rate. You basically judge retention, eligibility, and graduation. We were at 970 as a football program. That's 97% of our guys are retained, eligible, and graduating. Absolutely. But it starts academically. Obviously you call them student athletes for a reason. Student being first is obviously the most important part. Then it's athletically. When you come to UCA, athletically, you know what we expect. We're going to recruit winners from winning programs. Programs like Greenwood, programs like North Little Rock, in-state programs that continue to win, out-of-state programs that continue to win. I mean, we'll go to. I had a coach one time. He said we'll go to Mars to find a good player. It doesn't matter where you're at. We'll go find you, and we're going to go find players from winning programs. Socially, third, we want to make sure that we're good off the field. Socially, in this day and age, the way Twitter is, Facebook, Instagram, camera phones, it's so easy for young student athletes to get in trouble with that. You see it every day, every single day. So socially, we're constantly educating them on that. And then fourth, this is important to me, is spiritually. I want to make sure that those guys that are there have a holistic experience. They have a holistic experience in their time at UCA. It's very important to me. 3 cores of our program. I mean, to me, 3 cores of our program is respect. We're going to respect everyone. If you respect everyone and respect the process, respect the situation, respect your teachers, your coaches, your teammates, then you're going to be successful in life. You're going to be successful in life. So that's important. Sacrifice. Kids don't know how to sacrifice anymore. We talk about that constantly. Sacrifice. It is so hard to humble yourself to sacrifice for 18 to 22-year-olds. So we're constantly teaching them that. If you're sacrificing for your teammate and for your coaches and for your high school coach, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, whoever raised you, whoever sacrificed for you. I talked about my parents sacrificing for me growing up, or Jessica sacrificing for me. You know, that's what we talk about on a daily basis. And then last is service. We want to make sure that we serve our community. We want to make sure that we're represented. And again, I don't take this lightly. I talk about this every chance I get to talk about our program. You know, we wear that logo with great pride, and part of that is service. You know, we've got a brand, you know, that we have to stick up to, and we're going to take great pride in what that is. So that's huge. And then I always talk about those are our three main cores. And then I always talk about treating someone special every day. All of us think we're special. I mean, I like to, you know, I think I'm special. I mean, everybody in here is special. You know, at least your mom thinks you are, you know, or your dad or whoever. But everybody's special, you know. So treat everyone special, you know. And what makes me think about that is like little things like coaching our guys up to say yes ma'am, no ma'am. Coaching our guys up whenever they get up from the table to ask if you need a refill. You know, stuff that you don't think about. You know, that stuff that like our generation has lost touch with. And that's something that we talk about on a daily basis. So we want to win in the football part. You know, we want to win, you know, athletically, but there's a lot that goes into that I want those guys 10, 15, 20, 25 years to be sitting where y'all are at listening to a speaker at the Little Rock Touchdown Club because they're a successful banker, because they're a successful teacher, coach, whatever it is, doctor. You know, and what it takes is those values and those cores. You know, I think about, I'm going to finish with this little story, and it's kind of neat. So, unbelievable opportunity for me when I got done playing football was to have an opportunity to play in the Senior Bowl, and then obviously go to the NFL Combine. Great chance to represent the University of Central Arkansas program, but also just a neat experience for myself because, I mean, you're rubbing elbows with some of the greats. I mean, you're talking about, you know, individual meetings with Bill Belichick, individual meetings with Jason Garrett. You know, I mean, you know, you go up there and you walk in a room at, you know, you got a 15-minute meeting with Bill Belichick, you'll pee down your leg. I'm just telling you, that's just part of it. I mean, that is what it is. But I think back to treating somebody special. So treating somebody special, and I always go back to this because that's what makes someone be a great citizen in life is treating people special. You know, but I think about this. So I went off to Los Angeles to train. I got my degree, you know, at UCA. Went to train for the Combine and the Senior Bowl. Signed with an agent. Did all that jazz. It did me a lot of good. But you know, it was an opportunity to train. Well, one of my roommates was a guy named Eric Wood, and Eric Wood was a starting center for Louisville. He was a 4-year starter. Ended up being a first-round draft pick by the Buffalo Bills. And has been with the Buffalo Bills organization his whole career. Had to retire this year with a neck injury, but you know, I think he was a 2-time All-Pro, 3 or 4-time Pro Bowler. So really good football player, first-round center. Well, he was one of my roommates. We had the same agent. You know, so you know, so we got to know each other, all that. Well, we're at the NFL Combine. Okay, we went out there, and you kind of go in sections. Quarterbacks go this day, offensive linemen go this day. Well, anyways, offensive line and quarterback time kind of meshed. And anyways, we ended up being roommates just because logistically it worked out for our agent to put us together. Well, we got done with the session, and let me tell you something. You go to the Combine and stuff like that, you think this is difficult right here, speaking in front of people? Walk up here in your skimpies and do it, because that's what the NFL's like. They got you in they want to see your, I mean, it's intimidating now. It's tough. It's a tough deal. And it's like a meat market. I mean, it really is. You know, so we're in between sessions, and so we're going to go use the bathroom, and so we walk in the bathroom, and you know, we go to the urinals, and I'm not trying to get too deep here, but we go basically, you know, kind of bathroom protocol. You know, you go urinal, put one in between you, next urinal. You know, it's kind of man protocol there. So we're sitting there, and somebody walks in, and it's funny because we're sitting there, and you know, you're just kind of, you know, using the restroom, and I look to my left, and lo and behold, Bill Parcells comes in between us. Now, Bill Parcells at this time, he's obviously not coaching, but he's in management with the Miami Dolphins at the time. Well, Bill Parcells, literally, as we're sitting there using the restroom, he looked over at me and Eric, and he said, "Man, you're looking good out there, Brown." And then he looked over to the left, and he goes, "Wood, I'm telling you, you got a chance to be special." And so anyways, we let Bill finish first. And We kind of walk back, and I'm just a guy that I'm like in shock and awe that I'm even here. I'm Bill Parsons. Eric Woods, he's projected first round draft pick, so he's a little bit cooler with the situation. And we walk out of the bathroom, I'm like, how in the world the big tuna knows my name? And at that moment I felt so special. You feel like I could have probably done a 360 and dunked a basketball. And trust me, I couldn't do that without that, And Eric kind of looked at me and he goes, well, Nate, he goes, hate to bust your bubble, but your name's on the back of your shirt. And I'm like, and I sat there and I said, man, that is true, because you wear QB3, and it says Brown on the back, and but for that 15 seconds, I was a first round draft pick, and so that was an awesome moment. But that's what we talk about with our players. I mean, it's a fun time. It's an exciting time to be a part of UCA. It's an exciting era to be a football coach. I had some people ask earlier, what do y'all do to keep the quarterback play the way it is? I said it's recruiting. We've got a model. We've got a criteria that we look for in a student athlete, and we stick to that. And there's nothing that gets under my skin more than going across football, because if you look at the NFL all the way down to middle school, the best teams have quarterbacks. And it doesn't matter whether they're a starting quarterback or a third-string quarterback, they've got to perform. And so I take great pride, not only as a quarterback guy, but as a coach, in developing them. When they get on campus, if they're, I feel like when you're recruiting them, you find the guys that have the intangibles, that have the little things that you can't coach. They're leaders. Whatever it is, I feel like we can develop you physically once you get there. So my expectations, again, Braylon Smith was our starting quarterback. You want to talk about one of the best ambassadors for the University of Central Arkansas program, a Conway native, a kid that broke records at Conway. Now he's got an opportunity to be the starting quarterback at UCA, his hometown team. And he's I think he's fourth overall and through 3 games in pass efficiency in the country. I mean, he's lighting it up. But football, guess what? Football's, you never know what's going to happen. He gets rolled up on at Sam Houston State, breaks his ankle. He's out for the season, has to have surgery. The next guy goes in, Kirk Ball from Whitehall, Arkansas. And he's our backup quarterback. He goes in cold as it can get, throws a touchdown to get us to overtime. Ends up tearing his labrum, while he's out there. So now we're in a situation going into the next game. Well, crap, we're on our third-string quarterback. It's either a redshirt freshman or a freshman. And I told people that week, I got an opportunity to speak that week at a function at UCA, and I said, look, our expectations aren't going to change. It doesn't matter whether Braylon's in, whether Kirk's in, whether Luke's in, whether Bichon's in, our fourth-string quarterback. Our expectations don't change. We're going to develop them. We're going to get them ready, and we're going to play them. They're all on scholarship too. So just a neat opportunity to have 3 special quarterbacks like that, all from the state of Arkansas. Luke Hale's obviously doing a great job right now. I mean, Todd, you don't have a younger son, do you? Okay, drummer. Okay, well, UCA band though, Dr. Davis, UCA band maybe. We'll get him over there. But just a great opportunity. But in closing, I just want to tell you how honored I am to be here. Again, came here as a player, and then to get this opportunity now, it's just a very humbling experience. Excited to be here, and hopefully great things are to come for the University of Central Arkansas football program. With that being said, David, I don't know, is it typical to take questions, or is this
it depends. You've got a big game this week, don't you?
I got a huge game.
How about we do this? How about we let him off the hook for the questions and let him get back to we'll take a few pictures with you on stage. Perfect. And let you get back to coaching your kids. Wow, Nathan Brown. How about that, everybody? Great job, Nathan. Outstanding, buddy. Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, everybody from UCA. Next week, Steve Atwater will be here. Thanks for being here, everybody.